Thanks to the $100 oil prices of the last couple of years, we've actually begun to see changes in behavior in how Americans drive, the cars they purchase, and a renewed interest in energy efficiency. Some people think this is a permanent change. I would caution that history suggests otherwise, that if we were to see a period of lower oil prices due to OPEC action or an economic turmoil, demand destruction, we might very well see behavior change. And that's why I advocate public policies like carbon taxes or other means for addressing the problems related to oil insecurity, oil and climate change, rather than relying on the vagaries of the oil market, because prices go up, prices go down. I think that to see meaningful action on energy security, climate change concerns, we have to have action in Washington. The U.S. is the big kahuna of energy consumption and of environmental degradation. And until now, the prognosis has not been positive. But in fact, I think in the next year to 2 years, we're going to see quite significant changes in terms of climate change policy, regardless of what happens in Washington and the political landscape. There's now an emerging bipartisan consensus that we need to have prices on carbon. This will be the single most important change in environmental policymaking in a generation. Whenever you hear a politician say energy independence, run for the hills, because either they're ignorant or they're disingenuous. Realistically, we have to think about energy interdependence, and ultimately, until we get off of oil, if we use even a drop of oil, wherever it comes from, we're not independent, because every barrel of oil is connected to every other in a fungible global commodity market. So drilling in Alaska, not that I'm against it or for it, but let's put it in perspective. It won't give us energy independence. The argument for getting off of oil sooner rather than later is clear. The connection with climate and environmental degradation is strong. There's an even stronger energy security component. And here, it doesn't matter just reducing imports from the Middle East, a term that's often used in Washington. Because all barrels on Earth are linked, using any oil at all, or having our allies like Japan and Europe use oil, means our role as defender of last resort for oil security for the free world will always be called into play. And that's why, until we move off of oil, there is no true energy independence. We're about to enter a post-Kyoto world, and I think that's a good thing. There's been too much energy dissipated fighting over the Kyoto Protocol on both sides of the Atlantic. The UN foundation on which Kyoto rests, the Framework Convention, was agreed to and accepted by George Bush the father and his son. They never repudiated that, and therefore I think that's the right foundation for international cooperation. But let's be clear, international cooperation is important, but meaningful action will come from the bottom up, in countries, in localities, and by actions of individuals.